Happy Super Soul Sunday. This is Hannah Lassiter, the founder of Mentorship Revolution. I hope you have visited the website today because at www.mentorshiprevolution.com, I posted today's Super Soul Sunday message. I want to start, along with posting the Super Soul Sunday message on the website, I want to start incorporating it on the podcast for those who like to listen. And some of us are visual and some of us are more auditory. So we learn by audio or we learn by listening. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to record the Super Soul Sunday message, which is also located on the website. And I advise you to go see it on the website for yourself and to also listen to it right here on the podcast. Today is a day of refreshment, resurrection, and regeneration. I will be glad in it. Glory to the Lord. On this Super Soul Sunday, we will talk about walking the narrow path versus the broad path. The title of today's Super Soul Sunday message is Walking the Narrow Path. There are two options when choosing the course our life will take. We can walk the broad path or we can walk and travel the narrow path. Both are what they sound like, literally. I have learned from living firsthand that those who walk the narrow path are special. We are special because we do not take the easy way or the popular way. There is a saying that says, if you would die for nothing, then you will have nothing to live for. Let me repeat. There is a saying that says, if you would die for nothing, then you have nothing to live for, which I find to be pure gold in its meaning. I do believe we have to become wise before we understand the value in standing on solid core religion, beliefs, and values. Children are not quite ready to bear this kind of work, which they shouldn't have to. On this Super Soul Sunday, walk the path that God has destined you to walk. All of us are traveling different and unique paths that are still just as much alike in their purpose. That purpose is to find value and meaning in growing. Period. Keep walking the path that sets your soul on fire and do not back down no matter what dilemmas show up to distract you. Forge your own path, but do not forget that you are not alone as you travel life's journey. Come alongside and gain strength and endurance. That was today's Super Soul Sunday message. And for further recitation, really today I talked about walking the narrow path. And all of us who have some type of religious, spiritual background know what it's like to walk the narrow path versus the broad path. And walking the narrow path is one of those things where it's always about faith and not sight. Because, the broad path has plenty of space, plenty of room, and it's full of everyone, following each other to destruction, or maybe people who are lost, so they seem to fit in with each other. But from my experience, when you walk the narrow path, you sometimes feel like, that connection. We have to make sure we're not starved for connection when we are walking the narrow path, because walking the narrow path, of course, as it seems, there's less space. So, sometimes it feels like there's only you walking it. And we have to be very careful that we do not forget that there is community and there is other people who are very relatable and other people who also want to be in our lives, that want to support us, that want to encourage us. We can spread joy, and sometimes we have to remember that even walking the narrow path, we're serious about walking the narrow path and not getting off course, but we also have to enjoy the journey, and we also have to just trust in the process, which is also why I have the affirmation series, Trusting Yourself in the Process, because sometimes trusting in yourself in the process is just cooling down and just not being so, over demanding or, so controlling to the point where you can't let things unfold, or you can't trust that things will work out despite your stress. And sometimes we just have to surrender to letting life kind of work itself out instead of us stressing all along the way. Because, that right there to me is a testament of how your faith is and how much you have a relationship with Christ, when you can learn that sometimes you have to, you have to loose your tight hand that you may have on your situation in your life. And sometimes it's just, that's what faith is not being able to see it, but being able to still do it and still being able to follow the line, even if you don't know what it may lead to right now. But we know that if we have faith, we will eventually reach that destination. So I just want to encourage you on this Super Soul Sunday that if you are walking the narrow path, like I am and many others who have been enlightened and awoke, in today's world we live in, do not stop walking the narrow path, and do not, just be careful with the company you keep. Try to be around those who also are going, they're sure where they're going. Try to surround yourself with people who can encourage you and not distract you or lead you astray. So just, it's a long way that we have to go, but we can continue to walk this narrow path. We can continue to, if we're Christians, we need to continue to be Christians. If you're a spiritual person and, you have your beliefs, stick to your identity, stick to who you feel is true to yourself. Never feel the need to become something else that is not you. Never feel the need to become a part of a culture or a societal world that's trying to force you into this world. Don't be forced into walking a path that you don't want to walk. So it's a day-by-day process of, learning to walk that narrow path, which when it's time for you to walk that narrow path, God will reveal it to you. So be encouraged. Continue to live life to the fullest. And I pray that again today, your day was full of refreshment, resurrection, and regeneration. Lord knows we need all three of those. Happy Super Soul Sunday.